Smoke and foam not properly transfers reagents. However, smoke doesn't seem to be doing it despite the PRs claiming that it's fixed. I will obviously report this afterwards. And just also as a very quick disclaimer, if you're wearing internals, foam will not affect you, so just something to keep in mind. The reason I'm making this video is that there's probably a fair bit of you out there that have started within the past few months and have never even seen a chemical grenade get used because they just basically weren't enabled during that time period, so you might not even be aware that this mechanic even exists. To make a chemical grenade, you need chemistry, which is a tier 1 biochemical research, and you need to go down the arsenal tree until you get explosive technology. You can unlock this stuff very, very quickly. In this example, it only took 3 researches. That's probably better than average you'll be able to get, but either way, it's really just not hard to get a few tier 1 technologies. Make a basic modular grenade. It's actually quite simple. You just need 5 pieces of steel and a low voltage cable, and you just craft it, and it'll make the husk of it, and then you attach the low voltage cable directly. Now you need a trigger and a payload. The easiest to use, well, specifically for this video, you're going to want a chemical payload because we're making chemical grenades, and a timer trigger if you just want a traditional grenade that you pull the pin, basically, and toss it, except you don't actually pull the pins on modular grenades, it kind of just lasts forever. Anyways, you just take the trigger, left click it onto there, and the chemical payload's useless without any chemical payloads in it, so you need to make beakers, and thankfully unlocking chemistry also unlocks large beakers. So you just get your 2 beakers, and from here on out, you make any combination you think will be very powerful. I will show a few grenades in this video. I certainly don't know the meta grenades. I mean, I could definitely theorize how to make grenades that would just absolutely annihilate people, but I just have never actually done it in gameplay because, I mean, there's a time and place for funny gimmicks like that. I just never seem to be in a situation where I need to make or use grenades that powerful. One of the absolute most basic grenades you can make is a water potassium grenade. So with 1 beaker, you could just max it out with water, get the maximum efficiency, and stick that into part of the payload. With the other beaker, you just go up to your chemical dispenser, max it out with potassium. Very simple. Put it in the chemical payload, put it in the grenade, and now you're ready to go. You right-click the grenade, you can set the delay. I would recommend the lowest delay possible because you don't really want to stick around after you toss a grenade. And just 100 water, 100 potassium will make a grenade that does this. It's actually a rather massive explosion, but the damage isn't that significant. Only does about 33 damage, to 11 of it being burn, and 22 of it being brute, split between blunt and piercing. So what do you do if you can manage to recover your grenade? Well, all you need to do is you need a crowbar, because then if you use a crowbar on it once, it'll pop the chemical payload back out of it, and you can just refill up the beakers with a new chemical or whatnot. Recovering your grenade isn't going to be easy unless you manage to actually kill everyone around you or you manage to do it without anyone suspecting you, but that's a whole different issue. This is a grenade that has been around for a long time. Well, I mean, obviously up until reagents got removed from being ingested from chemicals, from like smokes and stuff, I mean. 1 beaker, you want 50 Ipecac and 50 fluoro. And in the other beaker, you want 50 water and 50 more Ipecac. And I'm just going to detonate this on myself to make it more obvious exactly how powerful this is now. This has gotten a lot stronger than it used to be. If it is detonated on top of myself, it will spread out a pretty massive amount of Epicac Foam. And if I open the door, you can see it spread out more. Just being in this epicenter has made me starve. And starving now, I mean, also, it basically makes it so you just can't move because the slowdown from starving. I'm also dehydrated now, so I literally can't move at this second. And the absolutely cruel thing about this is you start taking your species-specific damage from starvation, and most people are not just going to be, like, carrying an entire meal on them and a drink and just, like, consciously able to, like, eat it and drink it at the same time. So whoever you throw this grenade at, you essentially will take them out of any form of fight, because you can't fight moving this slow while constantly dying. This might not be obvious, but it definitely makes sense, is that the more water and more fluoro you use, which is the chemicals in order to make foam, the more of that you use, the bigger area the foam will reach. So I would try to prioritize size typically over like volume of whatever chemical you're using. And in this example, this is a space cleaner grenade. So chemical grenades don't always have to be used specifically to make the most uh, war crime accessible grenades out there. So if I show you how this works, this is a spilled welding tank. If I just activate it in the center, you'll see the foam spread out. And the space cleaner will actually clean all the tiles. And you can see just how far this foam spreads. It spreads much further than the mess. As you can see, it actually neutralized all of this fuel and turned it into water. Don't be afraid to make cleaning grenades for your janitor friends if you're a scientist. This might actually be one of the most deadly grenades that you can make currently in the game, at least for in terms of just killing people and not making like an infinite explosion or like taking people out of the fight necessarily. The reason for that is because this chemical is actually unique in the fact that you absorb it significantly faster than any other type of chemical in the game. So for example, you take 3 units of it per second, which does 8 caustic, and if you look at something like even like Lexerin, you only take half a unit a second, and the damage is about the same. So you want to, size is important for making these grenades, but if you're able to like land this on a group of people, it is just absolutely devastating, which I will show you. So I'm currently full health. If I just detonate this on myself, say I'm like even like a half a tile away, as soon as you get any of it on you, you're going to instantly start screaming. And I've already absorbed 45 units. I'm completely screwed. And just hypothetically, if you were to ever get your hands on a blue space beaker that had 1,000 water and 1,000 potassium, these bombs are hard capped, and you're not going to make like a nuclear bomb in your hand. So if I just detonate this here, yeah, it has the same range and the same damage as the other bomb that I made earlier. But the blue space beakers do let you make basically the most insane death mixes that you could possibly make. You could basically just jam them up with every single reagent you could think of. But, I mean, that's kind of a perfect storm to actually be able to even make blue space beakers, because people typically choose other tier 3 researches. I've actually never even seen a blue space beaker made, but that's a whole different story. And I'll end this video with one more helpful grenade, rather than just showing off a million different dangerous ones. This is a 50 units of trico and 1 in fluoro, and in the other one it's another 50 units of trico and 50 water. Why trico? You can't overdose on trico, so there's no danger in using this as like a healing grenade. So why it's useful, you can just dump it in like a group of people in like medbay, for example. It looks scary to see this foam expanding across people, but with this much trico in it, and like say you're standing in the center, you will actually fill up your solutions, the amount of like reagents inside your body, to a good well over 80 trico, and that's obviously overkill to heal people, but trico is really nice for aiding treatments, because again, trico cannot overdose you, and it actually heals pretty much every damage type in the game. So as long as you get your patients below 50, this is basically, you can more or less detonate a grenade on everyone in medbay and have zero thoughts about it. You either are healing people or doing nothing. You can't hurt anyone with it, so it looks scary, but it's a pretty fun way to treat people. I could go on forever about different chemicals and different recipes and all that stuff, but this should give a little baseline for things you can do, and I hope to see some creative mixes out there. Thank you for watching.